Champ. You crazy? Champ. I know the you're playing with. I don't play no motherfucking hates. You want
What's going on?
What's up, Floyd?
I can have what I want.
What you mean with the camera?
Oh, you got camera too.
So what you supposed to be?
I'm just working, man.
What happened? You're not tough anymore since your loss? What happened since your loss? Yo, we gonna bust him up, guys?
I told you before, put that
Yo, let's bust him up. Where you running, Jake? Where you going since your fight? Since you lost? What's up, Jake? Where you going, Jake? Oh, he's running! He's running! Look at him! Jake Paul running, champ. Why is he running? I think because the last time. It's all right.
So I'm walking down the street and Floyd was waiting in 3 different cars with 3 different groups of goons. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, Floyd's right there. And I was like, all right, like what's up, Floyd? And these dudes slowly started to create this like surrounding barrier around me. They attacked at the right time because like there was a wall. When I see these guys and I look in their eyes, I was like, I'm out. This is probably why the Dolphins are calling. The guy swipes at me. The Dolphins aren't calling, guys. I don't know if you can pick up on that. I'll never be in the NFL.
Y'all remember that time last year when Floyd Mayweather lashed out at Jake Paul? Now, the boxing icon has crossed paths with Paul on multiple occasions, but never have we seen him turn violent against the YouTuber turned boxer. Paul has been one of the most influential people in boxing over the past few years, and he's done more for the sport than even money himself. Now look, don't get me wrong, Floyd Mayweather is a promoter and has been busy growing the sport of boxing all over the globe. I mean, the dude's been touring Europe and Asia and fighting in these exhibition fights against retired boxing stars. But he's also failed to make much of an impact on the sport as compared to Paul. Now, Paul's been heavily criticized by the boxing elite lately for ruining the sport of boxing by taking on retired athletes and pro boxers. But that hasn't stopped him from pursuing these fights. The only notable fight the problem child has fought until now is Tommy Fury. Paul lost that fight, but has been on a rise recently and directly making an impact on the sport. Now, this dude's massive social media following and crazy antics have attracted millions of new viewers. Boxing has attracted new audiences, especially the youth, with Paul's latest audacious move to challenge boxing legend Iron Mike Tyson to a fight. So we can safely say that Paul has only helped the sport to grow even further.
When you see Mike Tyson hitting them pads, you get a little nervous. Yeah.
Bro's running at lightning speed today.
He definitely is looking like a fucking animal. I will say people are underestimating me though, because when I go to his comments, they're just saying like if Mike loses then fighting is rigged because they see how good he looks on the mitts.
I can see it watching from the sides when you have fought everyone else where they all go, holy shit, this YouTuber hits much harder than I thought he did. And you can see it change in their eyes. I'm not sure Mike will have that moment. Contrary to your belief, I think Mike is not underestimating you.
The ultimate disruptor, taking on the baddest man on the planet. July 20th, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. It will be the massive, biggest event in our defeat, Arlington, Texas. Big Paul, Mike Tyson.
So the way Paul is slowly dominating the sport with his audacious moves, looking like Floyd Mayweather feels threatened. Money rarely pays attention to exhibition bouts, besides his own exhibition fights, naturally. But he recently decided to share his opinions on Jake Paul challenging Mike Tyson to a fight. It took Floyd Mayweather a couple months to share his thoughts on the fight, but he eventually did, and it does not look like the dude is pleased.
It's just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Now that was a good response from Mayweather. These comments are, however, appropriate, seeing as he ushered in a new era of boxing and promotion after agreeing to fight UFC star Conor McGregor in 2017. Mayweather said that the realities of this digital age mean that boxers have got to do more marketing themselves on TikTok and YouTube, as well as agreeing to fights that some would consider outlandish, as is the case between Paul and Tyson. In another interview, the founder of Mayweather Promotions made another bold statement. Now, he said, "The promoter is dying. It's now the responsibility of the fighter to promote himself. Now, that's the new boxing world. Just hustle, man. Just hustle." The respect that Mayweather has for Paul doesn't seem grudging. It comes off as a genuine admiration and respect for what he's trying to do. And at the end of the day, money is money for many, no matter how they've earned it. With the interaction between Paul and Mayweather Jr., you might be interested in a fight between these two. Well, the Problem Child recently shared his thoughts on fighting Floyd Mayweather. Just gotta look at his hilarious response.
Jake versus Floyd?
I'm with it. But look, I could weigh 175 pounds, which is exactly what Deji's weighed.
Wearing. Yeah.
So there's really no excuse for him to fight me other than he knows he's gonna lose. And he says, "What?" He goes, "What?" I'm a mimic Floyd. Once you fight a real fighter, I mean, what he's doing is good, but once you fight a real fighter, all that is gone. So it's like, you're the real fighter, Floyd.
Boxing icon Iron Mike also seems to agree that boxing requires influencers and YouTubers to promote the sport around the world. According to Tyson, if boxing is gonna survive and grow, YouTube stars like Jake Paul need to stay and promote the sport.
What do you think about celebrities, YouTubers, entertainers getting into the ring?
I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest help for boxing in the history of boxing. Brought people to right and they understand boxing more as a skillful art, more so than some kind of brutality.
Do you think it does any disservice to the sport, discounts the work?
Hey, I bit somebody's ear. How low boxing's gonna go?
Right.
Two of the biggest names in sports history are open to influencers and YouTubers fighting alongside pro boxers. Unfortunately, the rest of the boxing community doesn't seem to agree. Paul has been blasted and criticized heavily after he called out Mike Tyson. Let's just take a quick look at the reactions.
Listen, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson might just be the stupidest fight of the century. That going against someone of Mike's caliber is stupid as He may be old, but he would kill most people in the cage. Especially a wannabe boxer. That boy is expecting to fight an old man and make cash, but he might just lose his ear after this.
And Tyson, I don't care who you are, nobody's above Father Time. Tyson's what, like 6 years old, I think?
Tyson is 57.
57.
And Jake Paul is 27.
Yeah, you know, man, that you know, no matter how much of an athlete and mean Tyson was in his prime, this is way past his prime. So I just don't know how much of Tyson is left, you know. All these heavyweights that Tyson's been fighting, those shots just don't go away. You know, he's gotten hit by some of the hardest hitters that ever walked planet Earth, dead square on the jaw. So that only gets worse with time, you know. So could Jake beat him? Yeah. But is that Mike Tyson? No, it's not Mike Tyson. We all know who Mike Tyson is. But obviously he's not fighting Mike Tyson. He's fighting the shuttle Mike Tyson. So I don't know, man. I maybe I overthink things like this in this matter too much, but there's too much.
So this is a lose-lose for Jake Paul. You can't go out there and potentially beat up Uncle Mike, the guy that's so loved by the world. You don't get no cool points for that. Let's say you go in there and you do beat up Uncle Mike. So you think now people are gonna respect you. Oh, Jake Paul, yeah, you beat Mike Tyson, 58-year-old Mike Tyson. No, you're not gonna get the respect for that. In fact, I think it'd actually be worse. People might hate you more because it's Uncle Mike. Everyone loves Uncle Mike. But on the flip side, you go out there and you get put to sleep, which is a possibility because Uncle Mike still has that punching power. He's still ferocious and he will still come at you. You go out there and get put to sleep. Let's least just go ahead and sign the death certificate of your career. There's no more career after that.
This thing is going to look terrible on TV. You think this thing is going to draw more than Mike versus Roy? You think this thing is going to draw more than Fury versus Francis? It's going to look ridiculous in an 80,000 seat arena. And what would be the reason that they're boxing? Money. Yep, sure. Yeah, we understand that. That doesn't work. It's a flop. It's a flop. Floyd and Conor in the fight capital of the world did less than 12,000 tickets. Come on, man. In Texas? Come on.
There's multiple things that come to mind. Number one, it's Mike freaking Tyson against Jake Paul. There's like a 30-year gap between them. So that's interesting. Number two, it's at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. That's like 80,000. That's where the Dallas Cowboys play, for those that don't know. Like, that's a gigantic stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the world. So that's a huge deal. That's not just some arena. And number three, it's on Netflix. And this is Netflix's first foray into, live combat sports. Of course, a few weeks ago, they broke massive news when they signed the deal with WWE, and we all thought that was going to start in January of 2025. Now here we get this on July 20th. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to have their say. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be upset about this. I see KSI tweeting about it, and some people seem to love it, some people seem to hate it. But one thing about Jake, he knows how to create headlines, and I have a feeling he had this in his back pocket leading up to that Ryan Borland fight.
Well, that's also outstanding as this fight in Riyadh. Mike Tyson at his age is facing a YouTuber that is much younger and hungry and capable of boxing as well. So it's going to be a good example for people that are at Mike's age.
Yeah.
It's also actually a good example for me to keep on punching, so to speak, and hopefully. And I look forward to that match as well. You can only be too old in your mind.
Yeah.
If you control your mind, you control everything in your life.
Now, as you just saw, the boxing world isn't in favor of this fight taking place. A lot of people are concerned for the health of both Paul and Mike Tyson. While some people think that Tyson could cause serious damage to Paul with his powerful punches, others believe that a young Paul would easily overpower Iron Mike in the later rounds of the fight. But just take a look at what Joe Rogan had to say about Iron Mike.
Mike Tyson, people talk to. People are there's certain people that are just crazy, man.
Well, these people that think that he don't stand a chance against Jake Paul, they're like, this shouldn't even because he's too old. I was like, I think you're crazy.
Well, they're definitely uninformed.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: he is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. He's had a lot of blows. And he's also doing this very unique kind of training with electrical muscular stimulation that I've talked to some people that do that. And it has massive benefits of rehabilitating injuries.
As podcaster Joe Rogan puts it, Mike Tyson's got access to the best training and he's fit enough to take on a young Jake Paul in the ring. The critics who's advocating for the fight to be canceled are worried for nothing. If anything, Paul needs to be more concerned for his life when he takes on Iron Mike. Unfortunately, fans is going to have to wait until November 15th to witness this epic fight, which is guaranteed to be nothing other than explosive. Until then, fans have got to stay content as the problem child takes on former bare-knuckle world boxing champion Mike Perry. Now, this is a fight that's far less exciting but promises equal excitement, especially considering the Paul's fighting somebody similar in caliber since his last bout against Tyson Fury a couple years ago.
Whoever moves first loses the fight.
All right, we're going to continue this. Jake, you've had a point to tell Mike Perry, he's private school Perry, that all this tough guy stuff is not fazing you at all. Do you think he's putting on a little bit of an act, or do you think that Mike walks it like he talks it? Got it. Mike, don't break.
You moved. You moved your lip, bro. Zoom in on the edit.
Yeah, zoom in
on the
edit.
No,
don't edit it because he quivered first. I was mocking you, and you went like this.
Bro.
You went like that.
Perry also recently discussed his love for boxing in an interview with Joe Rogan.
This bare knuckle boxing thing, has been fascinating to watch, man, because it's like someone designed the perfect sport for you. There's a pain and there's a danger and there's a wildness of it that even some very great fighters, they don't want that experience once they're in there. But you seem to thrive on it.
You know, it's just a real fight to me.
Perry seems to have gained plenty of experience thanks to his long and stellar career in bare knuckle boxing. Now, he discussed what makes him stronger and a great boxer.
What is the biggest difference about bare knuckle for you?
When I fought Julian Lane, his little fucking head hurt my hands. Because a lot of the time with boxing gloves on, your hands are like open. And you try to close it at the right time. But if you do that bare knuckle, because you know how if you're squeezing your fist, it's a little harder to move. You're kind of tense. But in bare knuckle, you have to learn how to move while you're tense and keep your hands closed. Because with gloves, you can block a shot like this. But in bare knuckle, you got to be closed up, tight, and squeezing your fist so hard so that when you hit them in the head, you don't destroy your hand.
Yeah, there's 3 levels of vulnerability. And the level number 1 is like, you would see a lot of the glory guys. They keep their hands in a shell, like Alistair Overeem or, like Badr Hari. Those guys would shell up. They shell up, but they have those big ass gloves. And you see that when they come to MMA, some of those shots sneak through.
Yes.
But then bare knuckle, it's another level of sneaking through. It's really interesting to watch a really good fighter like Luke Rockhold and you. Luke Rockhold is very skillful. He's a very skillful guy. And when you were putting it on him, I was like, this is a totally different thing. And you are like uniquely suited for this totally different thing.
So Platinum Perry possesses endurance and the ability to take hard punches. Now it's going to be interesting to see how he manages to take Paul's punches in the ring on fight night. Well, let's also take a look at what the experts had to say about this upcoming fight. Former MMA fighter Michael Bisping recently analyzed both fighters, breaking down their history, skills, and their big fights. Bisping's got ample respect for Perry and believes that Paul is fighting a great fighter.
Jake Paul is rolling the dice here, okay? He's rolling the dice. He's grown a set of balls. He's taking on a man that is in his fighting prime, but a man that isn't a boxer. Now, Mike Perry, as we know, had a good run in the UFC. He went 14-8, he had some big fights, he lost some, he won some. No, he was a very entertaining guy. Then he went over to the bare knuckle world. And that is where Mike Perry became a star, found his groove, and started making a ton of money, regardless of what Sean Strickland says. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Sean Strickland and Mike Perry getting into a little bit of beef. But Mike Perry went over to the Bare Knuckle Association and beat some truly great fighters. Number 1, Michael Venom Page, a man that's fighting at UFC 303 against Ian Gary, right? And he's closing in on a UFC title fight in just 2 fights. Michael Venom Page is tall, he's long, he's quick, but Mike Perry is an absolute savage. He also beat my old mate.
You're just an average bloke. Good use of English. I'm a f***ing samurai.
Luke Rockhold, went forward, got him done, knocked his teeth out, stopped the fight. Didn't knock him out, but knocked his front teeth out. And Luke Rockhold was like, listen, I'm too pretty for this shit. I'm done. Also took out the likes of Eddie Alvarez, a former UFC lightweight champion, and of course, Thiago Alves, a man that fought for the welterweight strap against George St. Pierre at UFC 100. So, no stranger to fighting great people. In the UFC, I think he went 14-8. So 20 fights or so, 22 fights in the UFC. And on the flip side for the last few years, we had Jake Paul coming from the YouTubing world into the boxing. He had a slow progression before he took on a real test, okay? He took on a basketballer. He took on Ben Askren. He took on Tyron Woodley, to be fair, but not the old Tyron Woodley. The fire's gone out and doesn't throw a punch version of Tyron Woodley. No disrespect to the former champion, of course. He did fight a real boxer once. That man's name was Tommy Fury, okay? A beginner, an amateur, but a young man in his prime and he lost. And a real fighter wants to go for the rematch, but he didn't do that. He moved on, and yeah, sure. He beat Nate Diaz. Of course, he beat Anderson Silva as well, who will be boxing again soon against Chael Sonnen, which is a surprising matchup, although I am very intrigued. In Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva. Now, there's a couple of guys in the boxing world that Jake Paul did beat. Andre August and Ryan Borland. Guys that are boxers, okay? But they're now working as Uber drivers and stuff like that, and they're way past their prime and they're way out of shape.
The July 20th clash between Jake Paul and Mike Perry is an important one for Paul. A loss would jeopardize his chances of a showdown with Mike Tyson. But we love to hear your all thoughts and predictions on this upcoming fight. How many y'all think Paul's gonna beat down Perry? Will we ever see Jake Paul take on Mike Tyson? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. And while y'all still here, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all next time.